But our most intimate belongings, of course, take place in a personal or private space. Maybe it's in a home or another special space. And the people who occupy these places are our closest friends, relatives, intimate relationships. They're people with whom we've developed deep attachments. In personal space, we reveal even more of who we are than we tend to allow in these other spaces of life. We reveal our deepest hurts, our fondest hopes. A full life includes all of these belongings, wherever we find them. Now, I want you to use your imagination, because I think we can see these differing spaces at play in the story of Bartimaeus. For while Bartimaeus sought out Jesus, there were some of the crowd that tried to prevent him from stepping into that personal, intimate space next to Jesus. The disciples sternly ordered him to be quiet. You can't enter that close place, that immediate presence of Jesus. This was a place reserved for insiders and intimates. Bartimaeus, you stay out there in public space. But don't show up, Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus refused. His voice became louder. Some of us that happens with, right? And more insistent as he repeated his cry, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus, I choose to belong to you. And then, as Mark's gospel tells it, something remarkable happens. Jesus stops and says, call him here. And this is the heart of the Christian proclamation. No one who cries out to God is ever turned away. Absolutely no one. God's love isn't the private possession of a church or denomination. God's love belongs to us all. It explodes into the world. You are always included. You're always someone who belongs. For God in Christ said yes to the world. God has chosen us. But for us to belong, we too must choose, like Bartimaeus. We must become a follower on the way. That's what Bartimaeus did. His story is the story of a healing, a physical healing, to be sure, but it's far more than that. It's the story of a profound transformation of life. Someone who had been sitting on the edge by the roadside became someone on the way. Bartimaeus the beggar became Bartimaeus, the follower of Jesus. He chose to belong, and to choose to belong sets us in motion. To belong is to place our lives into a larger story, the greatest story, if you will, ever told. A story that embraces all of our life. Like Bartimaeus, as we place our lives into this strangely compelling presence of Jesus, as we open ourselves to that unconditional, all-embracing love of God, extended to us in Christ, all our other belongings are changed. Like Bartimaeus, our eyes are opened, and we too become followers on the way. So as followers on the way, we're invited to follow Jesus with open eyes into the public spaces of life, to stand in solidarity with the outcast, the stranger, with those who occupy a place at the margins, the vulnerable places of our world. And so later today, many of us will find ourselves standing and praying with our Jewish brothers and sisters as they grieve following yesterday's horrific violence. As followers in the way, though, we're invited to follow Jesus with open eyes into our social spaces, especially into places of worship, seeking to make them more fully places of radical welcome and generous hospitality, places where deep belonging can take place. As followers on the way, we're invited to follow Jesus with open eyes into the most personal of life spaces, where we open ourselves to God's transforming presence in those intimate encounters we have in our daily life with those we love the most. Over the years, I have learned many of the most profound lessons about what it means to belong by my involvement with the L'Arche communities. They're residential communities of people, if you don't know L'Arche, communities of people who have developmental disabilities and people who share life together with them. Jean Bonnier, the charismatic founder of L'Arche, wrote these words out of the experience of L'Arche. They appear in a little volume called From Brokenness to Community. Our people, he writes, are close to God, and yet they're so little and poor. They've known rejection, have suffered a great deal. I'm always moved as I hear them speak of God. When somebody asked one of our men, Peter, if he liked to pray, he said that he did. So the person continued and asked him what he did when he prayed. Peter replied, I listened. Then the person asked, what does God say to you? And Peter, a man with Down syndrome, looked up and said, he just says, you are my beloved son. You are my beloved. To know you're God's beloved is to give us a place in the universe. It's a story worth telling in whatever places we live and move and have our being. Yes, there is a search which all of us have been on. It's the search to belong. So to whom